Welcome back, my gentle people. This is Corner Stories with your daily serving of relationship stories. So let's get into it. AITA for yelling at my stepdad for snooping in my apartment after he was upset about what he found. So about a week ago I, 22F, asked my parents, 47M and 40F, if they could stop by my apartment just to check on my dog who had been sick while I was at work. My mom agreed and everything seemed fine. They went over, gave my dog his medicine and took him for a walk. Today though I went to my parents' place for dinner and my stepdad refused to speak to me or even look at me. Eventually I finally asked what the problem was and he went off. Apparently he had been going through my things, and when he went into my bedside drawer found my toys and contraceptives. He yelled at me and told me that I was a disappointment and foul for having those things and that he didn't raise me for 17 years for me to become a deviant whore. I stood there absolutely shocked and bright red from embarrassment as my younger brothers and grandparents were in the next room and could hear him. I yelled at him for invading my privacy, telling him that I am an adult woman and that he had no right to go through my things in an apartment I pay the bills in. I have banned him from my home and have now blocked him. My mom says that I'm being dramatic and that it just caught him off guard to see those things, but my brothers think I'm right to be angry. So AITA? Edit, just to clarify. He's been very abusive in the past, which came about after I started hitting puberty. Me growing up and maturing always seemed to be an issue. Also my toys and such were in my bedroom in my bedside table, so not anywhere he should have been. Update, here's a more positive update for everyone. My mom and I met for breakfast this morning. The first thing she did was apologize, and tell me that I had every right to act the way I did and that she should have been in my corner. She's looked into divorce, but I have two brothers who are underage and because she works so much and travels for work she is afraid she will lose my brothers and have to pay 16 years of alimony. Update 2, I got home today after reading all these comments. Thank you everyone for your amazing support, and I found that 2 of the condoms had been opened and 1 had a hole in it. I got rid of them and my FWB went and got new ones for us. Thank you for the people telling me to check them. Getting pregnant would be excruciating for me because of my AS and my endometriosis. I cleaned all my toys just to be safe and took the spare keys from my parents. Update 3, this hopefully will be my last update. My locks have been changed and my mom has started speaking to a lawyer about divorce more seriously after learning about everything. The one thing that I ask is that everyone does not bad-mouth my mother. She has been through hell. Her own father was abusive from the age of 7 and at 17 made her marry my biological father who was abusive and a drunk, and now she is married to another abuser. Abusers seek out those that are traumatized and easy to abuse. He seemed perfect when they dated and nothing changed until I was about 9 or 10, 5 years of marriage at this point. Story 2. AITA for telling my mom that the only way I would see my stepfather was if he was dead. Trigger warning: abuse. I know the title sounds bad, but please just hear me out. My mom, 40F, met my now stepfather, 48M, when I, 23F, was 6. At first it was great, he was super nice and even played with me, but around the time I was 7 or 8 my mom was working full-time and my stepfather doesn't work as he gets disability for renal failure. My middle brother, who we'll call James, 17M, was only about 2 and my stepfather refused to take care of him when my brother would cry. So at 8 years old I had to teach myself how to make bottles and how to change diapers and even do laundry. If my chores weren't done I would get spanked, but it was more like a beating if I'm being honest. He would use hands, belts and a 2x4 with holes drilled in it. When I was 9 the youngest Danny, 14M, was born and it just got worse for a while. When my mom was on maternity leave it was nice, he wasn't mean or angry, but as soon as she got to work it would start again, only this time he would just disappear for hours and have me, a 9-year-old, watching a 3-year-old and a newborn. My grades started to slip badly in my parents' opinion. C's were not allowed and anything under a B warranted a beating in my stepfather's eyes. As the boys got older it was my job to get them up for school, in the shower, make sure they ate breakfast, checked backpacks and made lunches. At the end of the day I'd get them off the bus, help with homework, do laundry, make dinner and do the dishes. I wasn't allowed to have my door shut unless I was changing in case someone needed something, and while home was like this, school was no better. I was bullied constantly and horribly. It had gotten to the point where I was depressed and was told to stop having such a pity party. I got a job at 15 to start saving money to move out and had a lot saved up until he stole $800 from me. I'm sorry for rambling, but it felt nice to be able to type all of this out. Anyways, after I moved out I cut most contact with him, only talking to my mom and my brothers. It was my birthday recently and my mom was working, so my brothers and I went to the mall and hung out for the day. I did not invite my stepfather for obvious reasons, but my mom called me later that night upset that I had, in her words, that I have done nothing but exclude my own father who just misses me being around, and honestly I snapped. I told her in no way was that man my father and that the only way I would go anywhere near him was at his funeral. She then proceeded to call me an awful and cruel woman that she couldn't possibly have raised, and then hung up. My mom told my brothers that until I apologized they wouldn't be allowed to see them anymore, and now James is starting fights with both parents. I don't regret saying it, but did I maybe take it too far? Edit for more context. My brothers are safe first and foremost. I never would have left if I thought that either of them would hurt them. I was treated by both my mom and stepdad like a reminder that their little family wasn't perfect because, as my lovely would put it, a bastard put strain on a family, you know, but my mother wasn't innocent either. She knew about the abuse and could be just as ruthless. She was just verbal with her abuse. She had me on diets from 10-ish until I moved out and made me drink Slim Fast if she thought I was eating badly. I wasn't allowed to date or go out with friends, and when I moved to college she tracked both my spending and my location at all times and would call me randomly if I wasn't at work or school, and because she paid my phone bill if I didn't pick up she would shut my phone off. She also could be physical. She's just much smaller than my 6 feet 1 inch 300-pound stepfather. The only reason I'm still in contact with my mom is because I love my brothers, and to lose them would be like losing my own children. Thank you all for the support and lovely messages, I really appreciate it. Story 3. My stepdaughter wants her real dad to give her away. My stepdaughter will be getting married on August 3rd. The wedding planning has consumed most of her and her mother's life. I say her mother because we aren't married, though we've lived together for 10 years, for the past 6 months. My stepdaughter graduated last December from university. I paid for her to go to college. Though it was a state school, it still ran $40,000. She does not have a job and has been living with us for the duration of her college career and since her graduation. I also bought her a car to get back and forth from school when she finished high school. From time to time her deadbeat father would pop into her life and she would fawn all over him. Although he has not contributed a cent to her education or paid any child support, though that is my girlfriend's fault as CS was not part of the settlement, she still loves him and wants him in her life. He stays long enough to break her heart by skipping town and breaking some promise that he made her. The wedding venue holds 250 people max. I gave them a list of 20 people that I wanted invited, you know, since I was paying for everything. They told me that was no problem and they'd take care of it. So I let these people know they'd be getting an invite and they should save the date. Saturday, I saw one of my friends on this list at the golf course and asked if he was coming. He told me that he wasn't invited. He told me that he got an announcement, but not an invitation. He had it in his back seat, along with probably 6 months of mail, and showed it to me. Sure enough, it was just an announcement, and my name was nowhere on it. It had her dad's name and her mom's name and not mine. This led to a pretty big fight with my GF, as I found out that none of my list of 20 made the cut for the final guest list because 250 people is very tight. I was pissed, but not a hell of a lot I could do because the important people in my life had already been offended. My GF said if some people didn't RSVP yes, I might be able to get a couple people in. But that is an ultimate slap in the face in my opinion. So, I was boiling on Saturday. Yesterday, we had a Sunday dinner with the future in-laws family and us and a surprise guest, the real dad. At this little dinner my stepdaughter announced that her real dad was going to be able to make it to her wedding and that now he'd be able to give her away. This was greeted with a chorus of, "Oh how great" and "How wonderful" s. I don't think I have ever felt so angry and so disrespected. I was shaking. I took a few seconds to gather my composure because I honestly wasn't sure if I would cry or start throwing punches or both. Once I was sure I'd be able to speak I got up from my chair and said I'd like to make a toast. I can't remember exactly what I said but the gist of it was this: I'd like to make a toast. The sound of spoons against glasses ring in my ears. It has been my great pleasure to be a part of this family for the past 10 years. Ah, how sweet. At this point in my life I feel I owe a debt of gratitude to bride and groom, because they have opened my eyes to something very important. Confident smiles exchanged. They have showed me that my position in this family is not what I once thought it was. And now a glimmer of confusion and shock begins to spread on the faces in the room. Though I once thought of myself as the patriarch or godfather of the family, commanding great respect and sought out for help in times of need, it seems instead that I hold the position of an ATM, good for a stream of money, but not much else. As I have been replaced as host, both on the invitations and in the ceremony, I am resigning my financial duties as host to my successor, real dad. So cheers to the happy couple and the path they have chosen. I finished my drink. You all can let yourselves out. Is this selfish? I'm supposed to shell out 40 to 50 grand for a wedding that I can't invite anyone to? That I am not a part of? I'm so done with this crap. I'm done with my stepdaughter, I'm done with my GF. I transferred the money out of our joint account last night. She has not had a job since she moved in with me. This morning I called all the vendors I had written checks to for deposits to refund my money. At present it looks like I'll lose around $1,500 for the venue, but the other vendors have been great about refunding. Update 1. The immediate aftermath was tantrum and people sitting there mumbling while not actually saying anything to me, but to each other. After much yelling with the GF about me being selfish, I spent the night in my home office and no one knocked on my door, not once. Today's aftermath is kind of depressing for me. GF brought me bride's wedding planner to show me how much work I was ruining. I thumbed through it, found a page in the music section for father-daughter dances. All of the songs were catered to real dad's taste. So I thought they were just being disrespectful, but now I'm feeling like they never really gave a crap at all, especially since the menu included 2 ingredients I'm allergic to. That actually made me laugh. Either way, I'm glad to be done, returned the planner and asked her when she and bride could move out. Also, I never promised to pay for the wedding. I offered them the use of my home when they were sure it was going to be small, but other than that, all I've heard is how it's the bride's family that should pay, so, let it be the bride's family then, aka, not me. Final update: girlfriend and bride are now moved out. They are moving in with the groom. It was very hard not to be petty with some of the belongings they took with them, but it's done and I switched out the locks and now it's time for a brew. I can't believe how popular this story got, but I feel good to be given support by so many. If I find out what happens with the wedding, I will let you know, but I can't guarantee that I will put in the effort to find out. From what I've heard they are trying to scale things back and get his parents to help out. GF burned bridges when I found out she tried to write herself a check on our joint account the day after the unpleasantness. By then I had already moved money, so I guess I'm a bigger ass than her, but I could feel it coming. That's all. Thanks. And that is the end of the story. That's it guys, this is where I will leave you. I hope you enjoyed the stories I had for you. I certainly enjoyed them. Please be sure to drop a like or a comment and it would mean a lot to me if you subscribe to the channel. Until next time, be kind, be curious, and I will see you. Corner Stories signing off.